Hi everybody, happy Saturday night. We are quickly going to talk about the stress response system tonight. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and obviously stress that everybody had prior to March, stress that we've been undergoing for the past 90 days, some exacerbated stress lately. Let's talk about what's going on in your system and what you can do about it. So please go back. Our very early videos when we first started mid-March are going to be very scientific, very specific to what stress is, what's going on. As we've gone through the past few weeks, we have expanded on some implementation steps that you can be taking to manage your stress. And then the last week, I had some really awesome guests that talked about how they implement stress in their practices and what they do for their clients and patients. So if any of that sounds good, please take a look at it. We are going to talk tonight about what the stress response system is, things that can affect it, and what you can be doing at home or should be doing to implement some of these steps day by day. Because obviously stress isn't going away. And if you're watching the news, which I try not to, things are just being incited on a minute-by-minute basis. So let's get on top of this. Now, what is stress? Stress is a biological and physiological response to an activity. So stress can be a positive thing, like we talked, having a baby, that's a positive. Getting married, that's a positive for some people. Some negative stressors, changing jobs, what's going on in the world right now on all accounts. Again, so there can be positive and negative stressors. Your body does not know the difference. So your response chemically is going to be the same. And the response is also going to be the same to a perceived stress versus a real stress. If you're getting chased by a lion, that's a real stress. If you're sitting at your desk and you're worried that you're going to lose your job, your body interprets that, again, as being chased by the lion. So the chemicals that are released are going to be exactly the same. The process that that information takes through your body is going to be exactly the same. So that's why we really need to be able to recognize stress. We need to be able to recognize our body's response to that stress and then combat that appropriately or shut it down altogether. What are some things that you will experience in response to stress? And some of these are going to be, I would say, common sense, but you may not recognize that they are directly in response to your stress. So it can be an increased heart rate. It can be decreased digestion. When you're faced with a stressor, the purpose of the response system in your body is to take the blood and essentially take the information away from non-essential organs, which in a time of stress, digestion is non-essential. Your heart, of course, is going to be essential. And it sounds a little bit funny, but your brain is not essential. That blood is going to leave those organs and they're going to go to your muscles. They're going to go out to your arms and your legs, so that if you have to run away from that lion or you have to get yourself away from that stressor, remember the fight or flight response system, you're able to do that. And so why is it important to know that the blood goes away from the brain in times of stress, especially what's going on in the world right now? You are not making smart decisions. Even if you think you are, you're not, because the blood is not in your brain. What are some other things? Of course, increase breathing capacity so that if you're running away, you can breathe, you can do that adequately. Again, some individuals that have contacted me regarding weight loss or weight challenges in times of stress, or if you're under chronic stress, your digestion is not going to be working the way that it should. The blood, again, leaves the digestive system and goes to some of those other muscles. And when your digestive system is ischemic, when you do not have blood in your digestive system, your all that good bacteria in your gut is actually going to die. It doesn't have blood, it doesn't have nutrition. So that is another reason that under times of chronic stress, you need to make sure that you increase your vitamins and absolutely increase your probiotics. You also want to pay attention to any medications that you're taking, because their effectiveness may change the response system, and their effectiveness may be implicated, may actually be impacted by stress as well. So if you are experiencing new side effects the last few months, if you feel like your medication isn't as effective as it has been the last few months, please discuss this with your physician, because it is absolutely correlated to the stress that you're under. And from where I sit, I don't see that stress changing in the next few months. So we need to be proactive and we need to change our response to it. Now, what are some emotional symptoms of stress? That can be, this is what happens to me, becoming easily agitated or easily frustrated, moody in some situations, feeling overwhelmed or like you're losing control, having difficulty relaxing or quieting your mind. Impacts on self-esteem have actually been noted. Feeling lonely, feeling depressed, and of course, for those of you that are quarantined at home alone or have been the last 90 days, obviously that's not going to be helping mood, and that's not going to be helping our outlook either. So I hope that you have found, the connection within this group to be beneficial, that you've implemented some of the suggestions that I've made. A few other physical symptoms of stress, of course, are going to be low energy, recurring headaches, new or changes in headaches that maybe you've had in the past, aches and pains or tense muscles, upset stomach, and again, changes in GI function. And depending on your other complicating factors, that could be diarrhea, it could be constipation, it could be IBS, or it could just be nausea where you're just not feeling good. You have that sour stomach feeling. Dry mouth and difficulty swallowing can be problems with stress. And of course, nervousness, shaking, feeling unsure, difficulty in comprehension, and a decreased sex drive. If you're stressed, your body doesn't have procreation priority. So sex drive absolutely tanks. Now, some cognitive symptoms of stress are going to be increased worry, racing thoughts, inability to focus, poor judgment. Again, our brain is absolutely not working the way that it should. Now, what can you do about it? For the last 3 months, I've been giving you suggestions on what will work for you. It's important to know that stress management is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Each of us is chemically like a science experiment. The human body is not that complex, but it can be complicated by how we're eating, what sort of nutritional things we're putting in our body, if we're taking supplements, if we're taking any medications, and if we have any other chronic diseases. All of that creates this brand new experiment, and what works best for you and what resonates with you may not be what resonates with your neighbor. So for me, working out is a stress relief. It's 30 minutes to an hour by myself. It clears my head. I feel good. Other people, working out or thinking about having to work out can actually increase stress. So for them, it might be one of the more mindful activities. So meditating or concentrating on deep breathing activities. Those may be more beneficial than doing something higher activity. So figuring out what works for you is really going to be key, and trying a variety of things, seeing if accountability is what you require. So it could be doing something with a group, or for instance, having somebody call you up and say, let's go for a walk. That may be great and you may feel fantastic after, but it might not be something that you think of doing on your own. So maybe that group is what you need to make sure that you are following through with some of these healthy habits that you should be doing anyway. I hope that everyone has a very safe evening. I hope that you are able to, tonight take a few minutes for yourself, write out a few goals maybe that you have for tomorrow. Write down 3 things that you hope to accomplish. And again, it could be as simple as waking up at a ripe early time, having a healthy breakfast, and maybe going outside and taking 5 deep breaths. Self-care does not have to be an extensive, complicated process. It can be very simple. It does not have to be time-consuming, as long as you are consistent in your activities and you are trying to do a little bit better than you did the day before. So, sweet dreams. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.